The last item was a tabled item, so I'd need a motion to on-table ordinance number 2018-16, the bond ordinance repealing and replacing bond ordinance number 2017-03, finally adopting April 18, 2017, and providing public safety buildings to the House, the Police, the Fire, and Emergency Management Departments by and in the town of Phillipsburg in the County of Warren, State of New Jersey, appropriating $3,211,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $3,050,450 bonds or notes of the town to finance part of the cost thereof. Motion to untable.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Council Vice President DeGirolamo?
Yes.
Councilman McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Goldberg?
Yes. Motion 2008, ordinance 2018-16 has been successfully untabled. I get a motion.
I move the ordinance.
Motion to move.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Okay.
Witness discussion.
Before we move forward, if we could stand. Are you still here? Oh, Stan Trek, I apologize. I saw him somewhere. I think one of the things that I had requested, just to elucidate everyone, if you could just briefly elaborate on the complications that we've had and in seeking a home with the unique architectural details that the department requires and giving your endorsement of the plan as opposed to the renovation of the existing building based on our presentation that we had in executive session. Does that make sense? I don't know if that was clear.
He wants to know why you think the Armory move is better than renovating Corliss.
Yeah.
I think that's what you want to know.
Yes, that's correct.
Executive session back in May, I believe I presented 3 alternatives. One was moving the building, moving the police into the Armory. The other was moving to the Armory, redoing Corliss without a police station, redoing Corliss with a police station. The advantage of moving them now is time. And that's what the direction was way back in November of how they were going to proceed to develop the Armory plans to full completion, which they are, and to advance preliminary designs for Corliss and for a separate municipal building. Every one of those has attributes. But what we have now in front of us, we have the completed Armory plans where we're very close to being able to bid. We could do Corliss, but Corliss would take more time. The police, through the efforts that we made in working with the chief, Captain Travers, and Zeckman, and Captain Swick, we came up with a competent plan of what the requirements are in 2018, along with what the requirements are for 2018. And what we have would not be able to go back into Corliss the way it is. So Corliss would have to expand. Are there options to expand? There are. It would take up area on the ground. We have to do more on the ground because there's requirements for the court. For instance, a judge has to be able to get out the back door right away, and some other issues too. And I developed those in the plans that I showed you in executive session. There are deed restrictions on the property up by Corliss. I guess it could be addressed. I don't know what the time is. So now the advantage with the Armory is it's ready to go. We could get this project in quickly, and the police would have a place to move. If we go back to looking at Corliss, we have to find some options for the police to fill and redevelop that plan. So advantages or disadvantages, I can't say. I can only say what the time frame is. They did cost analysis, and I think they gave detailed drawings for what every option is going to be, but it's up to the council to make a decision.
Thank you, Stan. And I apologize for putting you on the spot. I just wanted to share with the audience before we committed to this very large expenditure, just how much requirement gathering we did and how much detail analysis about what we actually need to do with each of these buildings before we.
We did, and we gave that again at that executive session where we talked. The item that's missing, and I think we talked about this, is what, if we did not go back and correlate what the deposition would be for that building, what would ultimately happen to it. And Pat talks about a possible recreation center, if it could be sold, if it's sold, do we have to do the environmental mitigation that's there, and or it can be sold the way it is. I didn't do that analysis, that's not my expertise. You'd have to bring in some realtors to have that discussion. I do want to make it clear, though, there was an article in the newspaper, but it was indicated, or I've seen it, that the renovation cost for Corliss is $1.7 million. That's a very small part of what has to be done there. That was $1.7 million a little while ago too, and that's abatement for the mold and the asbestos that's in the building. And that doesn't get us to what that is, all the demolition that's required, the work that has to go in. That building essentially has to be completely gutted and start over again. It's been neglected for over 50 years, and that's what we're with. So the 1.7 is a very small cost.
Thank you, Stan.
Councilman Lutz, do you have any questions?
No.
Council Vice President.
Questions now, just general discussion. I did ask for a lot of assessment information, so I will share that. The Corliss track, because there was some information I didn't quite agree with, so I needed the backup. The Heckman complex is 6.2 acres and it's valued at under $5 million. The Corliss tract is 2.67 acres and is valued at $8.1 million. That includes the library, which we agreed to spend almost $500,000 on improvements. The value of the property is significant at Corliss. The deteriorated, and I don't know about anybody else, but I spent probably an hour or better walking through the building. It's horrible. I'm going to be frank, they should have been moved 2 years ago. I don't know why it took so long. They should have been moved 2 years ago. I was horrified to be in the building myself.
Am I involved in this, or we cannot?
Not yet, no.
All right.
I honestly think they should have been back. I apologize it took so long. However, that being said, when we had budgetary discussions, the first thing I asked was why there was no money allocated to the police move, because there was nothing put in the budget for it. Nothing. Approving this ordinance is going to put a huge impact on what the tax base is going to be next year, because it wasn't planned for this year the way the first ordinance was. And we asked that question when we planned. So had this been incorporated into the budgetary process when we planned earlier this year, we would have had a much better picture of what the tax implication would be, but that wasn't done. And I'm not sure why. We asked on more than one occasion why that wasn't being addressed, and we never got an answer. The other thing I want to bring up is, again, it's been discussed repeatedly why we haven't addressed the HVAC fiasco that caused this disaster. The contractor, I assume, was properly bonded when they did this work. We've all been told that if you've been in meetings for the last 2 years, the responsibility came because of the HVAC system, which caused the asbestos and the mold and everything else. It's apparent. If you've been in the building, you can see it. It stands right. All the walls have to come down, the floors have to come down. That's my feedback on it. I don't know how we get them moved fast. It has to be done. It has to be done. I'm just not sure why it wasn't budgeted when we knew we had to do this, when we asked about it. So.
Thank you, Council Vice President. Councilman Davis, do you have anything further?
No, good, Council President, thank you.
You're welcome. Councilman McVeigh?
No questions, but discussion, I do?
Yes.
Thank you. Just a couple of thank yous on this. I think our first executive session when we were Councilman-elect was Councilman Davis, who actually raised the question to do a comprehensive overview of, to extend this a little bit longer, but take a good look at the estimates. So I commend him for doing that because it allowed us to make an easier decision. I have a decision in my head, always have. I also want to, I can't say enough about Stan Schreck and the work he's put forth and the passion that he has for the project in an objective manner. That's a very talented thing to do, sir, and I commend you on that. I'd like to thank Chief Stetners and Hay, who have shown up this evening in the support, which I did table this last meeting because I think this is what the public wanted to see, this is what the public wanted to hear. We're just 5 people up here, but it's great to hear that the department heads come out and represent, in addition to the men and women who are in support of both of you this evening here. I will say this, I am very upset that this information got out publicly on social media. It put it in jeopardy, and I just had discussions with our counselor to make sure that whatever I vote is clear legally. That's most important to me. And most of you know where I live, on the corner. It's a busy corner. When I get dressed, I pull the curtain down. I don't lift it up. So I'm not happy that this information got out and put possibly any decision in jeopardy. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. To echo your sentiment, I feel the same way with regard to the revealing of the proprietary numbers that the engineer had prepared for us in executive session. I'll be quite honest with you. I was fully prepared to shelve this project because of that. Tonight, before we move forward, I would ask, before council chooses to vote, look at all of them, all of the men and women in the back of the room, because they all have families. They all have kids, and they all have wives, and they all are working right now in hazardous conditions. What the mayor did by releasing the numbers ahead of time, sure, it was improper, but I don't think that we should punish them for that. I don't think we can keep them there much longer. So I would ask that you support this ordinance and vote yes. Now I know that it's unorthodox for me because we just opened up an ordinance without taking public comment.
It's first reading.
It's first reading, so we can, okay. Roll call vote. Vicki?
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Council Vice President DeGirolamo?
No.
Councilman McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Fulper?
Yes.